then asked for a referral to see someone who really specialized in cerebellar ataxia, was how it was described to us. And we referred to Dr. Schmarman, and I think around 2006, 2007. But Sally's been suffering from the disease. We started noticing symptoms going back to 2000, 2001. She had family friends know she had a really severe accident riding. At that point, we noticed during the recovery process that she was having trouble with balance and with speech, and then through working with her internist, we got referred and found out that in fact she had this diagnosis. And when we got the diagnosis, MSA, multiple system atrophy, I had no idea what it was. At that point in time, Sally was just sort of wall walking. She would grab a railing, but we were getting along fine. And at one time, one physician said to us, well, maybe when you're 75 years old, you'll be using a cane, but I don't really see much, at that particular point in time. It wasn't very alarming. We then got to see Dr. Schmarman, and I'll never forget his words. He said, I always hate giving this diagnosis, but your wife is suffering from multiple system atrophy. I didn't hear anything he said afterwards. We left the room, and if you remember, Dr. Schmarman, I walked back in, and I said, can you explain this to me? I want to write this down. What is multiple system atrophy? And so, of course, we went home and we started doing the research, and of course we found out that the more reading you do, the more frightened you get. And at that particular point in time, they were talking about life expectancy from 5 to 8 years. Well, Sally, we know, has been suffering for at least 11 years from the condition. So the battle and the fight goes on, and we're hoping that there's going to be some sort of a cure. And we know that Dr. Schmarman is at the cutting edge, and his associates at the cutting edge of the research that's going on. So in deciding to put together this fundraiser, and this is the first of what we hope will be several of these, and I apologize for the last minute notice that we gave people, but we working with a very, very close friend, John Fletcher, who I'm certainly a good friend, and and he and his wife Carolyn have been very supportive. And we decided we're going to try and do what we could to raise the money. So John and Carolyn are co-hosting this. You all got a letter in the mail, and so here we are. So again, we're so grateful for the support. We need to raise a lot of money for this research, and but hopefully we'll get there. And when a family member gets stricken like this, people rally around. The family rallies around it. And at this point in time, it's sort of, it's frightening to think of the future, but we're hopeful that things can, there can be a cure. There's some things that can be done. And when it's your spouse and someone that when you reach my age, 52, you make plans to do things that you want to do, and then all of a sudden, boom, you really can't make those plans. And I don't want you to think that we're the only family that suffers from some terrible diagnosis. There are a lot of people, and probably in this room, who are dealing with family who are struggling with some sort of a disease. So hopefully the research dollars will help. So again, I want to thank you for coming. I'm going to have John Fletcher, who is co-hosting this with me, come up and say a few words, and he's going to introduce the doctors. A lot of you have asked what multiple system atrophy is. Some of you asked what cerebellar ataxia is, and my explanation certainly is not, it's not as clear and as concise, because quite frankly, I'm still struggling with trying to find out exactly what this is. So with that, again, thank you, and I'd like John to come up here and say a few words.